Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mo Money Mindset. My name is Dana. I'm part of the Mo Money Mindset Collective team here, and I just wanted to get on and have this quick disclaimer. The first 54 seconds of this podcast you're about to view had some audio issues, and so we just couldn't get the sound to clean up. The mics were very sensitive. They were picking up every time it brushed against the shirt or my beard brushed against my shirt, just weird stuff. And there was no way for me to edit it out without deleting that entire portion of the podcast. I didn't want to do that because I really believe that there's value right there in that first 54 seconds, and it really sets the tone for the podcast, and there was no way to replace that. So I just wanted to give that quick disclaimer. Please bear with us for those first minute, and I promise you after that you'll have clean, crisp, wonderful audio, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the fullness of the show. Thank you again for stopping by, and we look forward to seeing you in our future content, and please enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to the Mo Money Mindset. My name is Dana. I want to thank you for joining us here on this podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Marquette Dixon of Motivation Lawn Services, LLC. If you're in the green industry or the home service industry, you know that the expo is going on today, October 19th. And right before the expo was the Landscape Summit 2023 put on by Mike Andes and his crew over at Augusta Lawn Care. They did a phenomenal event. Now, Marquette didn't have the opportunity to attend this year, but I went. Also, today's sponsor is none other than Motivation Lawn Services, LLC. That's MOW, as in Mo. Get it? Mo? Yeah. So, Motivation Lawn Services, LLC. And they are a 5-star Google-rated company. They've been in business for well over 20 years. He does phenomenal work. I actually used to work for Marquette. So, this relationship goes a little deeper than probably what you guys can see on screen. Please make sure that you rate us, right? Rate us and get at us in the comments. Take a look at the show notes. That's where we'll have all the links for his contact information. If you're in this area or if you're just looking for some kind of coaching, some advice, go check him out at motivationcolumbus.com. All right, all that out the way. Let's get into the meat of today. And that's talking about Landscape Summit, right? So, when did you first hear about Landscape Summit?
I heard about it probably, I want to say, 3 years ago through a partner, a mutual friend of ours, Reese. You know, he went, then he went to the, I believe, you know, where they display all the new equipment, the up and coming.
The expo.
Yeah.
That's the expo. Okay,
he went to the expo. And he said it was amazing. So it's been about 3 years. Wow. But just through the information you telling me, like your experience was a lot different than his, you know. I think he more wanted to detail, you know, the equipment, because his biggest thing was he was talking about the stars. You know, he was hearing great things about the stars. He wanted to see it firsthand. And that was pretty much what led him there. What was the biggest thing for you going? What made you decide to say, hey, you know, I'm going to set aside this money, this time at, you know, probably a crucial time of the year as a landscaper, you know, it's kind of winding down a little bit. The weather's changing. Yeah. And what made you like decide to go? Because everybody has a different reason. Yeah. It'd be important to kind of talk about what's your reason and why, you know, you made this sacrifice at a turning point. Probably would you say would be a turning point in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, I know for a fact the reason I went was because I realized I had been investing. So my company has been in business for 4 years, and I just kind of realized that I had been investing in, what do you call that? I've been investing in tangible stuff.
Sure.
Like, you know, what equipment am I going to run? What software am I going to have?
Yeah.
You know, what do my uniforms look like? My employees, like how I'm gonna deal with them. Like, so I was putting a lot of investment and emphasis in that, and I felt like I wasn't putting a lot of investment and emphasis in the mental part.
So do you feel like you hit a wall in those areas? Do you feel like you were okay, I've done this and it's taken me as far as I can go, and I need more?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I think that
Okay.
there's a lot of areas, even with all that investment, there's a lot of areas I can improve in. And I think that any new operator that's doing this, you're gonna kind of see that for yourself. Like you're always learning. There's always some way you can optimize and maximize. And I know for a fact that I haven't maxed out everything that I've been doing for the last 4 years. But I truly, deeply just believed. I felt like one of the things that's going to be a key to my growth and going to take me further, faster, not just further, but further, faster, is I gotta invest in this here, and that's what I really went there looking for, was the mental piece. Like I wanted to understand, how did the millionaires think when they were becoming millionaires in this game?
On their way to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how do they think now? Like what would they do differently if they could talk to themselves from where they at now
Okay.
to they self when they was in my shoes?
Okay.
What would they have done and said, yo, do this, because if I'd have known, I'd have done that 5 months before, or
Yeah.
10 years before.
Yeah.
So I feel like I got that. I feel like I definitely walked away with those things.
So let me ask you this then. What would you say 4 years later to the Dana of belief 4 years ago? Like what would you say to him that you think would make a difference 4 years later?
Man, what I would say to him, that's a good question. I never thought about that. I would say to him, number one, invest in something like the Landscape Summit sooner. I definitely would have said that. Like I didn't even know you knew about it 3 years ago. I just found out about it this year. So when he said he knew about it I'm like, well, man, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? If I'd have known about it 3 years ago, I probably would have jumped on the board and tried to do it then.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know there was something like that out for landscapers. So I definitely would have said that, number one. And number two is just be prepared for the discouragement, man. Just I would have better prepared myself for the discouraging points of the business.
I get, like, okay, and I hate to keep jumping around,
No.
but you touching on like when you say discouragement, give me one thing that like that was like it was a
Gut-wrenching?
Huh?
Like gut wrenching.
Yeah, that kind of just like, like made you really say, I'm not sure if I'm cut out to do this.
Yeah. So it what's funny is that thing shows up just about at every stage of growth, I believe. So without getting into a long story, my very first year, I made $163 a week. When I told you I was working for him, that's part of the time I spent working. Like I only had enough customers for one day, and then I would go and try and spill up the rest of my week working for him. So, that's cool the first month or two, but 9 months straight, that was not. I made so little money that Uncle Sam was like, I don't even want your taxes. Like,
and explain to them that you're married, right?
Yep,
With
married,
kids.
2 kids. I think we had 2 different car notes at the time.
Yeah.
So just like anything that a normal household would have, and I'm only bringing in $163 a week. So that was the initial thing that was like so discouraging. You know what I'm saying? Now we ain't here to talk about how I got through it, but that's to answer his question and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So that was number one. Then okay, let's say this year 2, literally April hit, I did 12 grand in 1 month after making $163 a week, right? So I'm feeling great, like, let's go, whatever.
Yeah.
I get to that area, I start getting calls from commercial contracts. I run into the issue of not having the equipment, not having the guys, having to turn a lot of work down. I took one on that was 6 acres, and I had only a 48-inch X mark at the time to do it with. And I mean, I'm telling y'all, I would go out there and it would be like a 90-something degree day. It took me 14 hours to do by myself because I was by myself, solo operator. And I would break down and cry sometimes, like in the parking lot, because it was just hot. I was tired. I knew I still had 10 more hours left to go. And so that was the part where I really had like blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I mean? I had some injuries out there. Had to go to the hospital one day, broke my lip open. Had to get stitches, like all kind of stuff. because I was doing that job by myself and it was very taxing on the body. So
Sure.
I was losing my attention span, dehydrated, you know, grinding through. So I met this level of success, but here comes this other thing that really made me say, you sure you want to do this?
So it's like another ring in the ladder.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You thought you was at the top.
Yeah.
And then you look up and there's 100 more rings to climb to get to that next stage. So, you know, sitting here thinking about that, and, you know, a lot of times, you know, what's unique about this is, you know, you can read about it in a book, but sometimes when you hear it actually, you seeing it actually being talked about out of a person's mouth, it kind of resonates different.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to ask you this question real quick. So, in, you know, the discouraging part of making $163, what did you learn that you use today? Like, what did you learn from, like, was there anything that you learned through that? Or when you hit the $12,000 mark, or cutting 6 acres for 14 hours, like, what did you learn? What did you add to your book bag that you lean on and reach in and grab out today that you know, and I think people need to understand now you have employees.
Yeah.
You're at a stage of your business where you have employees. Now you've been able to hire people and pay them and help them become sustainable in their households. But what did you learn out of those two instances that you now use and now that you kind of give to the people that you employ?
Yeah. While you was asking the question, I was like, man, don't cry, man. Like, I was going deep, like it was taking me back.
That's what people need to see. They need to see that this is what, you know, a reel don't give you. A reel gives you about 18, 20 seconds of a finished product. And then you think like, man, I'm about to go out here. I'm about to buy these mowers. I'm about to spend $24,000, get a truck, a trailer, some trimmers and a blower. And I'm about to take over the landscape, the lawn industry. And not realizing that there's so many steps that you have to take before that.
Yeah. It's a lot of nuance in business that I didn't understand. I think I definitely learned that. But hardcore, like to answer your question, hardcore flat out. What I learned, I think above all, was I learned to just trust and lean on God, and I don't mean that in a figurative way. You know, we had a leadership meeting the other week, and I said, where does leadership start? And I told them, I can't say for nobody else, man. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe. There's a lot of people out there that don't prescribe to that. So I'm not here to, you know, say that this is the only way. I know some people. We've all seen the people that have made it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they.
With no acknowledgement of
acknowledgement of another power or whatever. So, you know, I'm not here to do that. But I'm going to say for me, and I'd never change my answer on this. It always starts with God.
That's it.
The only reason I started doing this, the only reason I went all in, I should say, Marquette had been encouraging me to do it for months before I started. But the reason I went all in is because I talked with God. I was praying. Right now, they got this thing on that's irritating me, talking about I do a gratitude practice. You know, they want to take prayer out, whatever. We ain't here for that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to call it what it is.
Yeah.
I was praying.
Yeah.
And I asked the Lord I said, Lord, I don't ever want to have to fill out another job application. Like that was the start of it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was it.
And I think all those couple instances I just shared, those were ways of him showing me, reinforcing me back to that place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I was making $163 a week, everybody was saying go get a job. The wife is saying it, the mom is saying it.
Yeah.
You know, some good friends I know, they like, man, you know, it ain't no harm. Go get a job, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if it ain't working, it ain't working. Why you still if it ain't working, it ain't working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. Maybe what I'm doing right now isn't working.
Yeah.
But I put stock in this.
Yeah.
I put stock in praying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know I heard him. I know what I asked him for. And that's what I'm standing on, believing him for. So I think that's one of the lessons I take. And that's why I said that in our leadership meeting. Like, you know, for you guys, that's where it starts. And I think if it's something, let's say, outside of the realm of spirituality, what I learned was to take the limits off. Take the limits off.
Touch on that a little bit. Like, you know, like when you know, because I think we born with limitations, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But when you say take the limits off, like, you know, I want you to really help somebody. You know what I mean? Because whoever's subscribing, and please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, yes. Please. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more to come. It's more meats and potatoes to come to this. But when you say take the limits off, like, what does that mean? Like, what are you saying? Like, are you saying like, okay, just try, and if it don't work, like, you know, I want you to kind of, because you know, when you say that, like, you gotta.
It's levels to that. It's levels to that.
Okay.
For me, I remember, you know, I've had so many conversations with Marquette. He was really. If anybody ever asks about our relationship business-wise, I always refer to him as the mentor, my mentor, all right? So we would just talk about stuff, and some stuff you knew I was going through, some stuff you didn't.
Sure.
But, you know, I remember you said that to me. You specifically said that to me. Now, he said it to me in a context of our church. We go to the same church. He was actually preaching this Sunday, and, you know, he called me up to the front, and he told me to take the limits off. Take the limits off my life, take the limits off, you know, this and that. So that was the context, but I took it with me out into my, you know, what I did.
To the marketplace.
Yeah. And so when I say that, like, when I told you I used to break down and cry because my body was just telling me, like, bro, you cannot do another 10 hours of this by yourself. Like, that was the moment when I had to tell myself, you can do anything.
Right.
Nobody was there to encourage me. I had to lean on stuff like that. Like, you know, take the limits off. Stop telling you can do it.
So you had like a Rocky moment. Like,
I'm talking about. Like I'm talking about if somebody would have had a camera on me, man. Yeah. There's a movie out called man, it's with Jake Gyllenhaal. He goes overseas. The Covenant. The movie is called The Covenant. And if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you. But essentially, Jake is in the army. He has a translator, and well, they go into Taliban territory over there.
Sure.
Jake gets incapacitated. Like they're like 160 miles away from the base. It's a real story too. It's a true story. And Jake's character gets incapacitated. The translator basically carries Jake on his back 160 miles through territory, putting him down to hide, like feeding him little drops of water because Jake can't do nothing.
Yeah.
To safety.
Like a baby.
Yeah, to safety. But while there's this one scene, and I don't think I've ever connected with a movie like this. There's this one scene where he's carrying Jake in a cart that he made. He's carrying him up these hills and these mountains. You know, over there in Afghanistan, there's rocks and like paved road.
Yeah.
And it gets stuck. And I mean, he already done probably did half the journey at this point. So he's tired. He's dog tired. It gets stuck. They ain't had nothing to eat. You know, he's scavenging. And he can't get it over this little rock, man. And he puts the tray down. Now these is what you call it, Marines. These is like the tough, baddest men in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he goes to the side of a mountain a few feet away, and he just breaks down. He just breaks down, like crying, snotting, you know. But he's in a position like ain't nobody coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody coming to help you.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt out there. Like nobody's coming to help you do this, Dana.
Yeah.
You got to find it within yourself. And it took that level of pressure, that level of breaking for me to find that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I got it in other areas, but that one, I never had it in that area. Like not in my job, not my occupation, where I felt like you got to find something to keep going. If I don't like something at the job, I'm quit. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to go home for the day. Hey, I'm out. You know, I'm not feeling well. I need a mental day, whatever, something going on. When it's my company and I'm the only one working, this is the only way that my family eats, I realize there's none of that available. I can't do that. And I think that first initial moment there with that breakdown at the warehouse was like one of the first ones that taught me that about myself.
So
like you can do it all.
You really discovered that there's more to you than you thought.
Yeah, absolutely. At 32 years old.
Yeah.
32 years old, I just learned that lesson.
So if that hadn't happened, so really you took the limits off when you decided to walk away from a full-time job. Like that was your
that was one level of taking them off. Right.
Yeah, that was like the start. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then probably would be another one is when everybody's in your ear, your significant, the people that you love, that you know love you, and just can't see
what you see.
Yeah,
Vision.
the foundation. They can't see it. You know what I mean? They can't. They just see. They see the walls that look like they're collapsing, but really they're being stood up. But the foundation under you knew was solid.
Yeah.
Because of where who laid it for you. So, I'm gonna ask you one more question. You know, and that's great because I think a lot of people don't know, or they just. I think once these kind of situations, and everybody's varies, they stop. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times we're driven by what people think and say about us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you were able to push past that and allow that to develop the man you are today.
Yeah. And just let me do this. Shout out to Eric Thomas, man. Shout out to Dr. Eric Thomas. Dr. Eric Thomas, you've never met me. I've never been to one of your conferences. I bought a couple of your books, and I prescribed to you on YouTube. But part of me listening to him on YouTube and his podcast, if you don't know, Eric Thomas,
brother.
E.T., the hip-hop preacher. If you probably should know him. If you don't, look him up. He is the number one motivational speaker in the world. But I listened to him
one day.
One day. Oh yeah, trust me.
We're gonna get to meet.
Trust me. But I listened to him, and I remember he had a similar thing he talked about when he transitioned to it from his wife. I want to give credit to him. He literally had that situation with his wife when he told his wife he was leaving his job at Michigan State.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? To pursue a career in motivational speaking in YouTube. You know what I'm saying? When YouTube wasn't paying like that and all that.
Not at
but
all.
if you know anything about Eric Thomas now, he's a multimillionaire.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Because
he chased it. Yep.
He's
author, best-selling author, everything, pastor.
Everything
so
that he set out to be.
You
know what I'm saying? He took the limits off.
So I can't act like the seeds that he planted and I listened to from some of his stuff too, they also filtered into me getting through those moments.
So it really does take a village then.
Oh man, I pulled it from everywhere.
Yeah.
All that stuff was coming back to my mind when I was crying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All that stuff. Take the limits off.
Yeah.
I remember stuff when I was just little. My grandfather's the one that taught me. My grandfather's the one that taught me how to mow grass. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me to swim.
Yeah.
And so I remember not being able to do it and him just saying, "You can't do it."
Yeah.
You can't do it. Getting frustrated, like I can't do it. Like I can't get it. I can't get the balance. You can do it, son. You can do it. You can do it. And so I'm a grown man at 32 breaking down in the middle of a parking lot and I'm hearing my grandfather's voice. You see what I'm saying? Like at that moment, I'm hearing what he said to me when I was 8, 9. Like you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say it's a village, I pulled from everything to get through that moment.
These are crucial points. I think these are the building blocks that you need to, whether it's to sustain you in the moment or to carry you further than where you thought you would ever be. It's these moments right here. It's these discussions. It's these intimate conversations and intimate answers that he's given. That I think if you really take it to heart, this is where I carry you to that next place. A place beyond what you thought you could go. I think we all hit that in life, but I think the difference is who we lean upon when the moments come. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the company we keep, I think, who we confide in, I think has a lot to do with it. So I think that's great. Everything you said was awesome. I can attest to that. But I want to touch back on this landscape summit. How many days were you there?
I was there for 2 days. Oh, I was there for 2 days.
Okay.
That's how long it was. It was 2 days something.
So, what time did you have to check in?
I got there the night before.
Okay.
But the actual summit started at 8 in the morning.
8 in the morning. Okay. How long did it last?
5 p.m.
Okay, so it's like a full shift.
Full day.
Did they feed you? Was it?
They did feed us.
Okay.
And the food was phenomenal.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie.
I would hope so. You know what I'm saying?
Cater food is usually a little tricky.
Yeah,
but they
did it. So they hit that.
Shout out to Mike for that.
Okay, so give me some things some pros like these things really hit home, and then I want to touch on a couple things you could be
pros.
like
Yeah, no, there were so many takeaways. And so,
Give me your top three.
my top three.
Top three.
My top three takeaways, man. One thing I did immediately was I went and got a CRM.
Okay.
If you're in this, you're
what
gonna
is
get
a
that.
CRM?
It's client relationship management software.
Okay. All right.
I went and got that. I did not have that going there. I thought
So
I
what
had
you feel
it.
the need for that for? Like, why'd you get one? Why'd you?
Yeah, I got one because it was a talk amongst people that were doing a lot better than me.
Okay.
When I started networking with people, I heard them saying things like, yeah, I got Jabba right now. Who you use for your CRM? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I was Googling it while I was in the conference because they were throwing the term around. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So that was one of the takeaways. And I just signed up for a Service Autopilot this morning. Shout out to them. They got a new customer in me.
All right.
But yep, that's my new CRM. Another takeaway was reading. Dan Ralphs was there. Go look up Dan Ralphs, man. Phenomenal speaker.
Okay.
He's what you call, I think, a dream coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gets you what your dreams are, and
Yeah.
then he shows you how to put a plan together and actively actually achieve them. Like that's what he does. And so he said something that really blew my mind. I'm very big. My whole thing, like the way I operate, is like I don't need to do everything that a millionaire or billionaire is doing. I just need to be able to put one foot in front of the other.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they were talking about, all these guys are high multimillionaires. Dan Rouse, if I'm not mistaken, is a billionaire. And so they were talking about things they do. And, a lot of the stuff he was saying was going over my head because I'm like, yeah, I'm nowhere near a billionaire right now today. You feel me?
For sure.
So, but one thing he said was, he was like, he reads a book a week, I think he said. A book a week. And he talked about why he does it. He talked about where that foundation was laid for him in school.
Okay.
And how it has been a transformative part. And I'm not gonna be funny. If you start researching motivation and how to become a millionaire and all that, you'll find that a lot of millionaires read like that.
Yeah.
Like they really read on that level.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo, it's not rocket science.
Sure.
Maybe I can't do all this other stuff he's doing, accounting and investing and doing all that. But I have the power to read a book a week.
Yeah.
So, and the way he broke it down was like, if that's overwhelming, start with a book a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
start
if you
somewhere.
or a book a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
start
saying?
Somewhere.
So that's my goal. My goal now is a book a month, and then I'm going to work that into a book every 2 weeks, and I'm going to work that down to a book a week. Now, will doing that alone make me a billionaire? Likely not. But I bet you I won't be this time next year if I'm reading a book a month. I'll probably be making more than what I'm making now. You know what I'm saying? As a direct result of the information I get.
Definitely.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Reading. You said reading, CRM. Uh-huh. The last thing was how to prepare for a conference. Okay. You gotta be prepared for it.
Yeah.
I thought you could just go there and chill and kind of be yourself. No, you need to eat right. Yeah. You need to be exercising because your body will start hurting sitting in that chair. Yeah. Because you want to be attentive and alert.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I found myself drinking coffee. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Like I was drinking coffee. I fell asleep on I missed some information because I fell asleep on a dude. Yeah. Like I was underprepared. I didn't understand what it was going to demand of me to be attentive, take notes, to be relaxed. Day 2, I kind of fell into the relaxation part. Mm-hmm. I caught my stride. Day 1, I was a little anxious. Yeah. So I was like trying to record every little thing that he said, every single word for word. Right? Yeah, I didn't know what to expect and how much information would come out. So that would be the third thing. Prepare for a conference. I would literally Google how to prepare for a 2-day conference, how to prepare for a 3-day conference if you're going to go to one and it's your first time, or if you've been there a couple times, it's just going to better prepare you, help you get prepared to be able to receive better. Testing. All right. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it was informative and entertaining in some aspects for you guys out there. I'm going to have to ask that you please go check us out across all podcast platforms. We do have an audio version of today's show, the audio only, available on all podcast platforms. So please go and check that out. Please leave us a 5-star rating as well as a review. And of course, connect with us in the comments below or go to our About section and you can connect with us through our handles and tags there. Outside of that, I really hope you enjoyed it. I can't say thank you enough for helping us out and just being a part of the channel content today. And we look forward to pumping out more consistent and better quality and more informative content in the future. So outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.